Information reaching us just indicate that Buhari is dead. Of course, this is coming from a former spokesperson of Buhari while he was the president, and we were made to understand that he died in a hospital in London. Though the information surrounding his death is still sketchy, but that the family source has confirmed it according to Garba Shehu. I'll be bringing you the news leading to this, but we shall be discussing with respect to the rumors surrounding his death in the past. But let me quickly get to the news announcing his death. I'm reading from the Punch newspaper. It's a breaking. Ex-President Buhari dies in UK hospital. You go for that to say that former President Muhammadu Buhari is dead. His former spokesperson, Malam Garba Shehu, confirmed the development on Sunday afternoon. According to him, Buhari died on Sunday at a hospital in the United Kingdom. You go for that to say that Shehu's statement read, the family of the former president has announced the passing on of the former president, Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, this afternoon in a clinic in London. You go for that to say that further details surrounding his death are yet to be disclosed. Just like I said, recall that sometime in 2017, there was a rumor of his death that came from Nnamdi, of course, where he disclosed that the Buhari have died.
Buhari is dead and buried in a shallow grave in Saudi Arabia. Aisha Buhari was there. She came back from what they called a lesser Hajj. She was wearing black.
And that, of course, that the man who ruled Nigeria or who was governing Nigeria is one to break from Sudan. And why the assertion grew wide and why people believe it was because even as Nnamdi is facing prosecution currently, nobody charged him for that. Of course, saying that the president was dead and the president is still alive. There was no charges that is preferred against him in that direction. And again, though the information surrounding his death is still sketchy, but I understand, we know that Buhari is a Muslim and that he will be buried by, according to Muslim rites. It is not yet clear whether he will be buried here in Nigeria or in Medina. Because we understand that some high-profile Muslims, in some cases, choose to be buried in Medina. Just like we saw in the case of Dantata, who, of course, was buried in Medina recently. But I think if that would be the case, the man would have leaved such information or rather instruction before his death. But it's not yet clear whether there is such instruction or not. But we understand that, of course, if it turned out that he will be buried in Medina, that will even give more credence because Nigeria will be curious to know why he will not be buried in Nigeria. But the point here is it has been confirmed that the president is no more. And of course, we know that death is a necessary end of all mankind. And of course, when something of this nature occurs, it is a type of personal self-appraisal for people to examine their life because everybody must give account of his life. Life is just a journey. So one must render stewardship after his sojourn here on earth to the creator of heaven and earth. But the point here is, this is someone who governed Nigeria twice. In the first time, he governed Nigeria as a military of state. And after that, he equally governed Nigeria after he defeated Jonathan in the 2015 general election. And he governed Nigeria up to 2023 when he handed over to the current president, Senator Ahmed Bola Tinubu. But let me quickly say that his death is undoubtedly going to shape Nigerian political landscape, especially as we go into the next round of election of 2027, because the ruling party currently rely on him heavily to leverage on his popularity in the north. Because to a large extent, even if Buhari failed woefully in his time as president of Nigeria, but he is still seen as Megastia in the northern part of the country. When I say Megastia, in Hausa language, it means an honest person. Whether rightly or wrongly, the Hausa populace see Buhari as an honest person. And of course, we understand that both the new coalition and the APC have been leveraging or his popularity, or rather laying claim to his support. Because the other time, when we saw the defection of the former governor of Kaduna State, talking about Malam Nasir El-Rufai, from APC to SDP in the first instance before joining the coalition, he made it very clear that he consulted the man Buhari before leaving office, before defecting from that political party. But we understand that when it comes to CPC that Buhari formed before the merger that formed APC, someone like El-Rufai is a close ally of Buhari, and he played a pivotal role in that regard. And again, we understand that some time ago, even members of the coalition paid Buhari a courtesy visit in what looked like trying to woo him. Of course, we are equally seen in the recent past where Buhari himself will come out clearly to make it clear that he is still a member, or rather he was still a member of APC, and he's still backing the government of Senator Bola Tinubu. But the point here now is Buhari is no more. And that vacuum, when I mean vacuum of controlling the 12 million votes in the north, that hitherto always go for him. But we understand that if we go back to the history of Nigerian election, right from the nascent democracy we operate currently in 1999, Buhari have had a history of securing 12-point-something million votes in almost all the elections, with the exception of the time he contested against Yar'Adua, who, of course, for obvious reason, is from the north, just like himself. In the time of Obasanjo in 1999, he had about 12-point-something million votes. In 2003, he equally had 12-point-something million votes. In 2007, the same thing, no, 2007, because Yar'Adua was from the north, he could not secure that 12-point-something million votes. But thereafter, he continued maintaining that trajectory of 12-point-something million votes. So it's going to show that, whether rightly or wrongly, the Hausas did not see Buhari as a megastar. Now the point is, who now control that votes? Who now control CPC? Because CPC before now have been polarized. Of course, I must tell you that. That's a statement of fact. Because the way it is, we have seen the likes of Al-Makura, who came out openly to say, yes, we are from CPC block in APC. We go for Senator Bola Tinubu and we give him our backing. We have already seen other members of the CPC, like Malam Nasir El-Rufai, like the former Secretary to Federal Government, talking about Babachi Lawa, like even the former Attorney General of the Federation, Malami, coming out openly to identify with the coalition. And even as at the time Al-Makura spoke for the CPC bloc in APC, the likes of Malami, Babachi Lawa came out clearly to say that he's not competent to speak for the CPC bloc. Of course, that he's not representing their interests, that he's not representing them. So the way it is, I think it is going to be a very big Herculean task. One, for the coalition. Two, for the APC itself. So I think the vacuum Buhari will be living, particularly in the northern political landscape, in terms of Nigerian politics, is going to change Nigerian political landscape. It's going to change the dynamics of politics. It's going to change, or rather reshape, how election is being won and lost in the north. You understand that when it comes to popularity in the north, after Buhari, though Buhari is no more, after Buhari, the next man is Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. Where Atiku will have what it takes to control the chunk of votes that Buhari is that now before controls. Will the man Malam Nasir El-Rufai control that vote? Will Babachi Lawa control that vote? Will Malami control that vote? I think all of this will be known in the day ahead, because eventually we are going to have an election come 2027. But one thing is certain, that CPC block that gives, or rather the loyalty that Buhari controls, that block have been polarized. Seeing that the CPC block in APC have been fragmented. So I've gone for APC, remain in APC like Al-Makura and co. So I've identified with the new coalition, talking about Babachi Lawa, talking about El-Rufai, talking about Malami, and some other persons. So the way it is, Nigerians are watching to see how the election in future, particularly from the northern part of the country, will be shaped in the absence of the man Buhari. I must say a very big thank you for your time. This is Lamida and Mr. Matthew.